and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. And today, guys, we are taking another look at Elrond. There's some fantastic news that's cropped up, Chris, talking about, a meeting between Miami Mayor and the CEO of Elrond. And this is big for several reasons. We're going to get into some of that and just see what is going on. And we're probably going to have a look at the Elrond chart, see what's happened after a bit of a crash and a bit of a recovery as well. So as always, guys, if you find this useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button. You know how Chris appreciates it. And if you're new to the channel here and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, Chris, shall we jump on over to the desktop and take a look at what's going on here?
Yeah, I really love this project, Nick. Let's get into it.
Fantastic, right. So Miami Mayor meets with Elrond CEO after the Bitcoin Treasury discussion, right? So here's the brief. The Miami Mayor sat down with the Elrond founder and CEO. They discussed how blockchain technology could benefit the city and its residents. This meeting follows a conversation between the mayor and Anthony on Twitter about Miami, basically, introducing a Bitcoin into its treasury reserve, right? So quite a lot going on. Let's see what's actually being spoken about, right? So it seems that Anthony Pomp, and I'm just going to call him Pomp because, it's funny, may have influenced another high-profile person to embrace crypto, right? So Miami Mayor Francis sat down with Elrond founder and CEO, I'm going to call him Ben. Pomp and Mayor basically, had a brief discussion on Twitter about utilizing Bitcoin as part of its treasury reserve, right? And I think a lot of people saw that what was going on there. This isn't new by any stretch of the imagination. That discussion was relatively open, and it was all about Miami basically opening up to saying, yeah, we might actually take some of our treasury reserve and put it into Bitcoin. And that kind of high level kind of discussion, right? And if they do or they don't, that's all kind of speculation, but the conversation happened. So something that the mayor said he was definitely open to, right? So it's open to it, doesn't mean he is, but he's open to it. So perhaps an in-person meeting signifies a higher level of interest, right? So the meeting, in a recent tweet, basically explains in detail what was discussed. In the thread, it opens with, and here we go. So I met with the mayor of Miami to have a discussion about multi-trillion-dollar opportunity in blockchain crypto and how Elrond could help Miami seize this opportunity. To make the most of this opportunity, I have suggested two things to the mayor. Could do to position Miami for strong tailwind adoption, and that's friendly regulation, right? So that's the first thing. And the second is a strategic collaboration with an internet scale blockchain platform, hence our discussion about Elrond, right? So pull those two things together and you're kind of knitting something very, very good. So it appears that the two had a deeper discussion compared with the pleasantries that may be expected from a high-tech platform and politician. They discussed actionable changes that the city of Miami could take advantage of by becoming the cryptocurrency-based projects and organization. Okay, so obviously we can see here a tweet thread, right? So on Friday, I met with Mayor, a discussion about the multi-trillion-dollar opportunity in blockchain and how Elrond can help, right? So for those who do not know what Elrond is, we did a 5 reasons why you might want to get involved with Elrond. Do check that video out. But basically, Elrond is a scalable, high-performance blockchain platform that basically is meant to facilitate the use and decentralization of applications, right? So it is absolutely a behemoth of a project. So to be clear, Elrond is complementary to Bitcoin and Ethereum. In fact, Elrond is ultimately the ultimate internet scale blockchain, being able to scale beyond Visa levels in bandwidth and trivial transaction costs, and offering a great dev experience, all live and available today. Right, so to point out exactly how Miami could benefit from the Elrond platform, stating that it can offer a highly scalable platform to build on, right? So he also proposed that Elrond could finance blockchain founders and entrepreneurs in Miami and offer strategic advice related to all things blockchain and crypto. US politicians sitting down with blockchain experts and discussing the various possibilities is likely something that would have been unheard of just a few years earlier. It's unclear as to whether or not the mayor will be taking up the offers. However, it does appear that the mainstream adoption is coming slowly but surely. And Chris, I'm not sure what your takeaways are on all of that.
Well, I love this project, Nick. I think it's probably not as well known as some of the others just yet. I think it's early days. I think it's going to get momentum, and I think this one's going to be a mammoth project. I really do.
I do as well. So let's go ahead and look at the native token on Elrond, right, which is all about eGold. So eGold had two tokens in essence. There was an older version, that basically was converted over to a newer version. And I think the ratio was 1,000 to 1, right? So 1,000 of the old token became 1 of the new token. So there's very limited history, right? We look at the entire history here from September 2020 and to our current period, right? We obviously see this massive spike up that we've had and the recent crash as well, which is mainly driven from a Bitcoin scenario that we are currently experiencing. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a deeper look into this, right? So we obviously have our Fibonacci on here, and this is the retracements. We have the low point, which would probably be around the 30th of November, approximately somewhere in that zone. And we obviously have the high end here as well, which we had marked out about the 22nd of December. This then shows us all the various different levels that were being hit and the breakout towards our first price target of $42, which didn't quite get there. We were a little bit short before all the Bitcoin action came in. But nonetheless, it's good history to have this kind of thing on here. We can also see a retest down on our original high level right here, which is I think where we got some main kind of traction going again. We also came down and hit a resistance and support line here. So this is acting as support both on the trend and on the actual horizontal, the horizontal being the key one here. And this is something that we look at on our 4 hourly to find it, but we can see lots of support and resistance across this line in the history. And that's something that we hit today just over here as well. So really good to see that we are now getting some good quality history that we can start referencing. And that's the problem when we end up with some of these new projects, Chris, where they're so new, you just don't know how they're going to react. And finally, we have some history here that we can start referencing, which is good. Now, if we just zoom on in here, we can get a bigger view of what's actually happening today. I'm going to pull that down a tiny little bit for you. And then I'm just going to lock that so I can move this around. So as you can see, we obviously got to this high level here, almost hitting our first target, but falling a little short. We came down to test this area here, right? This support line, and it kind of held, for a period of time. But unfortunately, Bitcoin's price action recently, Chris, has caused the bit of a drop down, right? And we obviously came down into this area here. Tested the former high level. That held for a little bit, but ultimately we came back down, crashing as Bitcoin did as well to this resistance and support line. Okay, and that's the support line that we talk about on the 4 hourly chart, which is really good history because it goes all the way back, right? So really good support. But we came up from there and we're well above our Fibonacci level here, the former high level, and we're back into our price discovery for the Fibonacci extension at the 1.618. Okay, and that's still targeting that $42. But I still think that is well undervalued, and this thing is going to take off in the long term anyway. So looking at this slightly differently, we can obviously see that we have this upward trend here, we have it over here. Let's see what would happen if we were to put a few additional trend lines on. Let's see if we can spot anything that might be countering our upward trend with a negative trend, right? So normally things don't go steep like this. That's just not how the real world works. Nothing goes vertical and nothing goes so steep that it's just unachievable long term. So this doesn't look like it's going to be something that we could actually utilize in analysis sense. But if we were to say, okay, here might be a trend forming in the sense that we have that downward trend. Now, You could cut that there and say those were anomalies, but I'll be as super accurate as I can and say, okay, if there is a downward trend, that might be the start of it. Okay, I'd always like to try to get 3 points of contact if possible. There are only 2 on that particular trend, so not necessarily the strongest. But what we can see is if we were to get above our resistance line, this resistance line at $33.89, then this triangular wedge could be a catalyst for change, right? So what I mean by that, if I go ahead and pull up my arrow here, let's hypothetically say we're able to break up to here, for example. We get to this point, we get our 3rd point of contact on our downward trend, and we come back down and test this particular support line. The support line holds, and then all of a sudden we come back here, we hit the negative trend line, we can come back down, we hit into this zone, and at this point here something has to happen. You're either going to go up or you're going to go down, right? The closer you get into this triangular wedge, it's going to be a catalyst for change. One trend is going to outwin, right, the other. So ultimately, I think we'll end up in a situation where this thing just shoots off up again, okay? So ultimately, this is what I'm kind of hoping for. Of course, this could go long-winded. We could end up with a totally different trend, right, where we actually have the downward trend meeting with our upward trend, and we actually end up bouncing this more like a motion like this, right? Not something that I would like to see, but it's potential nonetheless, right? All of this happening before potentially this moves on up. So one thing I'm trying to get at here, guys, is ultimately we're in this kind of triangular wedge one way or another, whether you're in the wedge here above this resistance line, or you stay below this and it's not really acting as support or resistance at all. It's very, very loose, lots of volatility. At some point, when you get into the narrower sections of this triangular wedge, something is going to happen. You're either going to get a crash, which I don't think will happen. I think we're going to move to the upside. And I think the motion and the general market as a whole is incredibly bullish. And I think ultimately the alt season will kick off very, very soon. So ultimately, it's going to be moving in an upward direction. That's how I see it. But with all of that said, we can obviously see our first target is 42 cents. Our second target is $42, then $62. Then we move to $83, and then we move to the $96. By no stretch of the imagination is that the limit, however. I've seen people, and I totally agree with this, Chris, and correct me if you feel otherwise. I'm thinking, $400 to $500 during the bull cycle for e-gold, and then potentially coming back down, calling somewhere between maybe $150 and $200, right? I think we're going to see massive spikes up and a massive crash down. I think it is a bit too soon. With that being said, though, Chris, if we get some absolutely bullish news from Miami about, adoption with Elrond, I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Chris, anything you want to add?
No, I think you've covered everything, Nick. Yeah, remarkable project, great team, great use case, and yeah, I think this one's going places. I really do.
Fantastic. So guys, as always, if you find this useful and informative, do go ahead and smash that like button. And as always, if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.